All right. I wanted to talk about some things I'm watching for this week. Okay. So, first of all, you went on ES, so I guess we'll start here. Square one. ES is in a bullish market currently. Okay. I know you probably think it's going to tank and die. That's okay if it does. At the moment, though, we're still in a bull market, in my opinion. Okay. So I was looking for some form of a liquidity grab and then a push, right? And last week, I made a video where I was talking about shorting this downside and then targeting 58.48, okay, which is exactly where we went and ripped off of. So now that this happened, what I'm kind of ideally looking for, right, is to deliver back to these highs up here, right? So my system generally is on a 1 hour chart. Look for trendline breaks. Why? Is it because lines are cool? Well, no, it's because liquidity is along this line, right? If we start squeezing some liquidity, it will set off a bit of a waterfall to the top side in theory, right? To give us some long opportunity. So ideally, I wait for us to be over these moving averages on the 1 hour chart and above this trend line, right? Now there's some nuance to my system, okay? We just came down to this range low and we bounced real hard out of it, out of demand, like perfectly out of demand, literally just tapped it, okay? In an overall bullish market. So this is kind of giving me a little bit of a context story, right? And why I think we're going to kind of ideally bounce out of here. Now, could I be wrong and we tank? Yeah, absolutely. But I think we're going to break this trend line and rally to the top side fairly quickly because everybody thinks the sky's falling, right? And when that happens, we get these big, large, fast moves, rallies, right? Because people are wrong. But anyways, so I just wanted to point out something due to my system being my system, and I'm very familiar with it. I know the nuances, right? Even though these are spread to the downside and we're below this 1 hour trend line, etc. Due to all those other factors I just talked about, if price rinses below this candle, which some might call a demand zone, which it has done already, and then on the low time frame, we reclaim previous day's close, okay, and the 1 minute MAs flip to the long side. If I get setups up in this area, which is in theory before the 1 hour break, I would take setups up here. I'm anticipating the break because of those other clues that I just talked about. There's nuance to this, it's my system. And again, 1 hour trend line is pointing to the low side because could this just break down and die? Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. But the context of the broader market, I think, is telling me a story. And I think we're going to break out of here. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, there's things that would change my mind, right? And if I take a long early before this 1 hour break, right here, and I take a loss, am I going to try it 4 more times? No. I'm probably just going to try it once. And then I'm going to sit on my hands and wait for the 1 hour break, or we're going to die, which is fine. But a setup in here is worth risk to me. And then on gold, right? It's a similar thing, right? We have this range in an overall bullish market. We've come down. We've grabbed a low side liquidity. We're now in the low of this range. So if we get this 1 hour trend line to break, that might be nice for longs. We ideally want to be above these MAs. We want them to be spread, right? On gold, we're kind of sitting below the 50, right? So we would want to see this kind of break out above this 1 hour. On ES, if we do what I was talking about, that would happen above the 100, which is a lot more enticing to me than being still below the 50. Okay. So I'm kind of trying to show you an example of you have to have a system, but there ideally is going to be some kind of discretion involved in your system. Okay, and this is a perfect example of discretion. Due to the overall context and what just happened, I think that I can jump the gun on waiting for my MAs to flip back and long and target these highs on ES, and pretty soon long and target these highs on gold. Okay. Again, could I be wrong and the market just dumps? Yeah, dude. That's trading. But I'm using context clues here. I think we're going to break out. This trade right here, this setup is I just take the same setup all the time, but this setup is exactly what I've taken like 1,000 times on gold. We get some form of a liquidity low. We get some trend line. And when we break, we rip, right? It's literally happened, I don't know, 1 million times. Just kidding. But it's happened all through here. We get some form of a liquidity low taken and a trend line. Break, rip, right? Liquidity lows were taken. Trend line. Break, rip. Liquidity lows taken. Trend line. Rip, right? Happens over and over. Same thing here. Liquidity, low, taken, trend line, low, right? Over and over and over and over and over again and over again, right? So that's what I'm kind of looking for here. Again, breakout. So that's what I'm watching for, okay? I mean, I didn't even look at anything else yet. Let's look live. We're looking live. All right. What are you doing, Dow? What are you doing, man? This is not anywhere near as good, in my opinion. I don't like this. No thanks. Not very good. NQ, what's up, dude? What are you up to? Okay. Maybe, dude. A liquidity low grab. We've got the opportunity for some liquidity here. Okay, so kind of over this 21,100-ish area. There you might start to see some setups. Now, listen, again, my rule is usually the MAs, okay? MAs are still pointing to the downside. So in theory, I would not take longs out of here. So because of that, I have to be very aware that it's completely possible that price just chops around in here. Acts like it's going to break out, doesn't, and then just comes down, and then does this, and a bunch of this, and all of that, and just keeps widening and megaphoning until maybe eventually it goes, or, maybe it just dies at some point, right? But, this is kind of one of those areas where it makes sense for me to pay attention and to, yes, know my system very well, but also know when a little bit of discretion makes kind of sense. Okay. The Russell's disgusting. No thanks. So, yes, yep. We're looking for longs out of here. If this breaks, or if we're up in this area and 1 minute MAs are cooperating, etc. I'm fine with jumping the gun and not waiting for these MAs to flip. And gold. Similar. I'd rather wait for this to break on gold. Because of where we are on the 1 hour MAs, we're still below the 50, right? Yeah, man. Very cool. So just chilling, waiting, gonna trade tonight if anything pops up. And that's that, my brother. But if we break over this trend line all week and these MAs flip to the long side, oof, there's going to probably be some sweet longs, dude. There's going to be some sweet longs up in this area. And on ES2, there's going to be some sweet, if we get over this line, there's going to be some sweet longs up in this area. Right? Again, if the market dies, that's totally possible. But at the moment, that's not what I see. At the moment, I think kind of all-time highs at some point. Maybe the next 2 weeks, week, whatever. All right. All right. Peace out, dude.